And we're live.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to our weekly collective conversation. Or that's not what we're calling it. What are we calling it? Conscious chat? I don't remember.
Collective chat.
I just know it's a bunch of C's. I got.
It's girl talk. That's what it is.
Today it's girl talk.
Yes, girl
Yeah.
talk, Hearts That Change Collective. My name is Jennifer Passavant. I'm an intuitive spiritual life coach, energy healing practitioner, and a channeler of divine beings.
Hi, I'm Bonnie Burd, and I'm a Reiki Master Teacher, Akashic Record Reads, and Channeler of the Divine Beings also.
And hi, I'm Kathleen Sherman. I am a shamanic medical intuitive, Reiki master, quantum energy healer, and do all kinds of stuff. And today we are bringing Jessica Johnson on. Jessie has taught me a lot since I've been talking with her. She has an awesome YouTube channel and gives all kinds of free information and does lots of things online. And I'm gonna, she's always been intrigued and studied most of her life into quantum mechanics, quantum physics, metaphysical studies, and pseudoscience. And in essence, she has a unique understanding in the things that go bump in the night. I'll let you take it from there after that one.
I do a lot of different things. Mainly, I like to teach. I like to basically teach more advanced ascension type aspects, such as vibration, such as dimensional understanding, and how basically the universe works, as well as the different things in celestial aspects. And everything else. So that's pretty much what I do. I like to teach. I like to inspire and bring people to the right path of where they need to be, and have a unique understanding of how the universe works and how their place in it.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
That's not complex at all.
No, not at all. Absolutely not.
So I'm just wondering, what is your favorite story? I mean, how did your awakening occur? How did it start with you?
Oh goodness, my awakening was pretty unique. I was, some people, they gradually get into their awakening, and and it's all nice and it's gradual and everything, and then there are some people who get shaken awake. That was my case. I was into different metaphysical metaphysical type studies and everything else anyway, so I had a lot of variety of different knowledge anyhow. But what got me awake was getting visited from celestial beings, if you will. And when you wind up having a 4-foot gray standing next to your bed, that kind of shakes you awake a bit. And you're trying to wake up your wife, going, "Wake up!" And she's like, and and you're just like about kicking her out of the bed, because you're just like you're like having the covers be on over your head like a little 5-year-old, and going, "Just go away, just go away."
I remember I did that when I was a kid with spirits.
Yeah. So I guess I was always used to the whole spiritual aspect, so that didn't really bother me. I guess to shake me awake, they had to bring things from other planets because I'm that stubborn. So it's like, she's not doing what she's supposed to. She will not listen to any of us. So let's bring something that's great, that has big almond eyes, and have it stand next to her bed.
How long ago was that?
That was in 2015.
Okay. So recent.
Yeah, it was fairly recent. I got into these different studies and everything, and what started was I went to, something called me to this one shop. It was the Shamanic Vine. Oh. And I was looking for a Pacific crystal. Okay. Something told me to look for a crystal, and that I would know what I was looking for, Mm-hmm. But I had no idea when I was walking in there. No clue. So I walked in there and I'm picking through, and I found this one crystal. They call it an ET crystal, but it's actually an extra tourmaline crystal. And it kind of looks like a rocket. Okay. So I had sit there and brought this crystal up to the counter, and this lady, she's extremely knowledgeable. She's extremely connected and very, very in tap with things, you know, just like her energy, you could just feel the vibration coming from her. And I set the crystal down and she goes, whoa, wait a minute. Do you know what this crystal is? I was like, no.
I'm asking you.
Right. You know, I'm asking for a friend. Come on, you know. So she sits there and she goes, oh, hold on for a minute. So she goes rummaging back behind the counter where she has, I guess, her stash of old books. So she brings this big old, you know, this old book it looked like it was like printed in the 1970s, you know.
It was.
And
I have the same book. Yes.
yeah. So look, she's already connected. She already understands. So anyway, so she's looking at this book and she sits there and she goes, look, this is the ET crystal. This is the extra tourmaline crystal. And I had read it and she goes, well, when you meditate with this crystal, you bring higher dimensional beings as well as celestial beings into your life. You know, you could, if you talk to it and everything else and meditate with it. Okay. Mm-hmm. So I did just that. I went home, I meditated with this crystal for 3 days, right? I could feel the energy coming off of this crystal. So I knew it was very unique. And, so I meditated with this on the 3rd day. That's when I had my little visitor stand next to my bed.
So you just put out a calling card. So here they come.
I put out a beacon, apparently.
Would they have been the ones you'd have wanted to call with that crystal, or?
I had no idea.
Person to person, doing. Or
quite honestly, I had no idea who I was calling or what was going to come of it. You know. Like E.T. come home, you know. So then after that, it was like every day I was having, you know, I was having contact. There was quite a few times I was abducted. I don't like using that word. It's kind of creepy, but it's not really, you know, because it wasn't nothing negative. It wasn't a negative experience at all.
Yeah.
And I was just like, I remember a couple of those times I was just like, you know, a little kid that always asked questions, you know, the ones that annoy the parents, you know, like, why, what's that? Why, what, you know, and, you know, the ones that the parents, you know, throw a phone to just so they'd be quiet and stop asking questions. That was me, you know. Instead of throwing me a phone, they just knocked me out. Like, like start asking questions like, boop.
Yeah, she's asking questions again.
Yeah, exactly.
Where's the mute button?
Exactly. You know, they're good at that, you know. And so one of the abductions that I had was you know, I was sitting there, I was in it, I woke up when I wasn't supposed to. I knew I was. It was kind of like that feeling that, you know, that oops, she woke up and she wasn't supposed to type of, you know, feeling. And I was you know, laying in a bed and I couldn't move anything, you know, from shoulder down. Everything was stiff. I could move my head up like this, but I could not move the rest of my body. And I look up and I see this like Palladian. You know, she's like a very humanoid, had very, very platinum blonde hair. And she was, you know, and she was very, she just stood there. She just stood there. She had a white dress, like the whitest of white that I've ever seen in my life. You know, and the inside of the vessel was completely like luminous white, you know. I couldn't even see the walls. I couldn't see windows. I couldn't see nothing. It was just completely a luminous white.
Yeah.
And she was standing there and she had her arms folded like this. And it was like she was leaning against the wall and she just had this smirk on her face, like, you know, and I'm sitting there like going, like trying to ask her questions, like, who are you? Where am I at? You know, this and that and the other. Well, next thing I know, a gray skinny arm had reached over and then boom, I was out. Like you know, like I said. She has like funny faces as well.
That's because okay, the look on the Pleiadian's face does not seem positive and loving, and then a gray reached over and knocked you out. Well,
yeah, it was just it was.
I'm concerned for you at this point, so.
Well, I was confused too, you know, looking at her like, you know,
for you, like I'm like, I don't feel like she's in a safe space.
Well, it was just like she just kind of just looked at me, and she just like had that like smirk on her face, you know.
Yeah.
And I was just like, and then out I went, you know. So I have no idea why it took place. All I know is that what I had remember, what I was allowed to remember, and that's just how it is.
Yeah.
But as I started to put that fear away, because you got to understand the first part, you know, the first time of it happening, I was scared. I was, you know, I'm sitting there calling all my friends, and all my friends probably thought I was done crazy by this point, because I'm calling out all of them, going,
Trying to give
"Oh my
away
God,
that.
this
you
has a ship hovering over the cell tower. What's going on?" You know, and everything.
Did you
else.
trying to give the stone back?
I didn't even think about that.
It's like I'm hanging up now.
Like, you guys are all fired.
Throw it in the river.
So never even thought about that. But I was sitting here calling all my friends, and all my one friend thought I was done crazy, because I was on the phone with her, and I heard the phone like crackling, you know, and I was like, what is going on? You know, so I go to let my dog out, and because my dog wanted to go outside, so I let my dog out, and there's this vessel hovering over the cell tower about half a mile, you know, from my house, where I could actually see it. And it's like shooting sparks into it, or it's coming into it. I'm not really sure what's going on. And I'm like, oh my God, there's a vessel hovering over the cell tower. Like, she thinks I'm crazy. Like, you know, my sister even thought I was crazy until she stayed with me. And then there was a vessel hovering over my pine trees, and we were staring at it for like 20 minutes. So, you know, it's like, oh, you thought I was crazy now.
It's like, dude, you gotta throw me a bone and let my family at least know that I'm not crazy.
Right, exactly. Like, you know,
Gotta have somebody to know I'm not insane.
Right, you know, and I thought I was losing my mind. But as soon as I started to, you know, put aside my fear and everything, I wanted to connect with them. I wanted to find out, you know, what, you know, why they're here, you know, their knowledge, you know. So I started like conditioning myself, you know, and started, you know, like trying to get used to their presence, you know, walking out in the yard at night. And like, if you're gonna get me now. I'm here. So exactly.
I was like,
Yeah.
what's next? Are you going to give me a new upgrade? I want to do something new fun. This sounds like a fun.
Right, exactly. So
Like the 2-year-old, beat me up.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Like, you know, I'm here, guys. Like, get me. Like, I mean, I'm sure there's a lot more people nowadays that are doing that now, you know, with 2020 and all. You know, they're probably going running out their yard going, please take me.
Yes.
I'm like, just come in my dream time. I don't want to be physically floating around and going different places. Hear that, guys?
Hey, you know what? My ultimate dream is to go joyriding on a vessel. I mean, you know. I just want to go through the McDonald's drive-through just once.
You see what they would say to you?
Oh, it's so funny.
Yes, I would like some of your chicken nuggets.
Oh, I forgot my mask. Sorry.
Yeah, exactly.
I'll try that. I want the sweet and sour and some ranch.
It'd be like the Jetsons, man.
I don't know. I haven't eaten it. Well, I'll eat McDonald's once in a blue moon, but like a breakfast sandwich, I quit eating meat. They're not making it. So Jessica, what happens when you go on these excursions? Do you know?
Well, when you go in, it's kind of like an education.
Mm-hmm.
They wind up teaching you a lot of different things, such as, you know, one of the things that they had taught me was, you know, about the different portals, where they're at, as well as on Earth, as well as within our solar system. There's one that is behind the sun, and there's quite a few different energetic points on the Earth itself where the portals are, such as, you know, where, you know, there's one in Hawaii. And of course, we all know where the one in Arizona is. So, you know, so there's different portal points that they have. And each time that there's a specific moon phase or anything like that, it opens these portals up. And the one that's behind the sun is kind of like an interdimensional highway, if you will. A lot of vessels come through there. That's why every time when they have that nice little expensive camera floating that the NASA has and everything, you always picture these vessels coming in from the sun, because they're also getting energy from the sun too, because that's what a lot of other vessels basically thrive from, just like we do with our gasoline with our vehicles, you know, with fossil fuels. So there's a lot of different things that they teach, and you know, as well as how space is and how they fold within time. You know, in third dimension, if we want to go to Mars, we have to get in a ship and go there, right? They fold time and space to where they could be at one point and be in another, just like that, you know. And it's, you know, and the thing is that, so it's basically education. They teach you about that. They teach you about the consciousness, how the universe works, how basically to raise your own vibration, and how everything is. You know, I had a friend of mine. What's going on? No.
Oh, I was saying hi to Kaylee. Sorry. Quietly, but not so quietly. Hi,
So
friend.
anywho, I'm like looking, going, okay.
Sorry.
I'm missing something.
I know. I was like, is there like something?
Maybe your puppy was over there because she kept smiling and looking down.
So
Oh my
they
gosh.
basically teach you all kinds of different things, and you know, and the thing is just that you start to have a better understanding of certain things and how people work, how the universe works, how things are going, and you just, it's kind of like when you connect with other people who are of a high frequency, you almost, like you had talked about at one point, Kathleen, where you wind up automatically getting an upgrade just by having a conversation and connecting with other people, because we are all interconnected. We're all interconnected with them. We're all interconnected with space and everything above and below. So when you're connecting with these higher dimensional, you know, beings, whether that's interdimensional or celestial, you are automatically raising your vibration.
Is there? We're like lighting up to ask a question.
I mean, I thought it was a thing, you know, like.
Nana. Oh, I can still do it.
I'm just gonna stick my finger in my ear.
There are 2 questions in the chat.
All right, go for it.
My question is, and I know the answer, but I think a lot of our viewers don't know the answer. So I want you to explain to the viewers the difference between celestial and interdimensional, because I think a lot of people forget that there are multiple dimensions and that there are beings that can.
Oh, yes.
So, and go.
Okay, so we'll start with the interdimensional beings. Okay, so interdimensional, picture it like an onion with many, many layers. Okay, we have, you know, we're third dimensional, so we only see 3% of what's going on, but it goes all the way up to 12 to get the whole picture of the whole reality. But in order to basically energetically, in that essence, we'll go with up to 9. Okay, so basically there's different, you know, species that are interdimensional. They're not flying around ships or vessels or anything or whatnot. They just can open up a portal and say, hey, hi, how are you doing? And everything else, you know. So celestials are actually beings that came from different planets, such as Adranima, such as Arteria, such as Lemuria, and so on and so forth. So these are actual beings that came from other places and do most times come here in a vessel. Okay, but they can also go open up a portal and slip through as well, you know, because of the fact that we all have that ability. It's just a matter of whether we tap into it or not, even us third dimensional human beings. But that's a whole other subject in itself.
Yes. Do you guys want to go next, and then we'll get to the questions in the chat?
No, you can go ahead, do the questions in the chat.
Okay, so Nancy wants to know, what are your thoughts on our reverse technology? That's a good question, Nancy.
My goodness. Let's just throw that
I
right in there.
I know how high level Nancy is, because Nancy's asking that question.
Yes, I've had many conversations with Nancy.
Oh, she's
So specify reverse technology. Is that the reverse technology that they're trying to do here, or is it reverse technology of the celestial beings and what they use in a lot of their vessels? I'm asking that. So let's go to the
Maybe I
next
should
question.
call her and go, Nancy, we're talking about.
I'm like,
Quote Nancy Knight.
She'll answer.
she's giving us hearts. Hold on. She's probably gonna say both.
Here. She said here.
Do, 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 do.
All right, so here.
She said here.
So here, okay. So where do I begin? Human beings, they're very naughty creatures, okay? Let's get that. They like to play around with things that they don't quite understand. So the reverse where'd she run off to? The reverse technology.
Going to get her cat because there's a storm coming.
Oh, gotcha. So the reverse technology, they were using their own vessels, such as the TR3, which is, it's kind of like, triangle shape and everything else. But it's not only that they're using their reverse technology, but they're also using nuclear. Okay. So it's not exactly how the celestial beings use it, because they use magnetic and crystals technology, that basically gives that lift and turns and it goes up. So how humans are using reverse technology, not only in the vessels that are creating, but they're also creating the different of the God particle and all this other stuff, and creating their own portals. So I'm not really sure exactly where Nancy is going with that. That's kind of like a broad spectrum.
Supposed to hear about all that. We did specify that we found and then used.
Say what again?
She did specify stuff that we have found and then used.
Yes, we have reverse technology, a lot of stuff. There was a lot of things that we had either traded with Celestial. You can't tell me that the government don't know that they exist. Oh yes, they do.
Yeah.
TV number one.
Things that they shot down vessels and basically stripped them, and reverse engineered them.
Mm-hmm.
They have also basically, they have basically weaponized a lot of these things. Like things that were basically maybe traded with us, that were meant to be a humanitarian aspect, and they reverse technology into weaponizing it. And there's a lot of different technology that they have basically reverse engineered against their own people, such as the frequency and everything else. Now I could talk about that now, because why? It's on Google now as a patent that the United States owns, and we won't get into conspiracy theories, but it is true.
Yeah. Don't say the words.
Yeah. So that they basically use frequency to change basically the behavior and the psychological makeup of human beings. That's just an example. So they have reverse engineered and basically weaponized a lot of the technology that they have either been traded or that they have stolen. So there's
it's like a lot of subliminal stuff on TV. Read between the lines.
Mm-hmm. It's programming for a reason.
Yeah, absolutely.
And the next question that I think any one of us could field, but Jesse, you're our guest, so it's off to you first. But Bobby wants to know, how can you control your own vibrations?
Thought has everything to do with it. What you think is what you create. If you think that your world is out of control and that you are basically a victim of circumstances, you're going to be just that, a victim. The universe is basically going to say you're right. If you have control of if you have control over yourself and everything else, you basically may have in your mind, I want to change. I want to raise my vibration. I want to be a different person. Guess what? You will be what you are. The universe basically, when you utilize, manifestation, right? You don't say, I want, I want, I want, I want. You say, I am. I am this. I am that. So if you're wanting to change your vibration, you can. However, there is a key to that. The sun is the key. A lot of people don't think that. Because of the light codes that are coming in and everything else, the sun is key. That's why I meditate with the sun all the time. Because as the light is coming in, the light codes are coming in, your vibration winds up raising, as well as your grounding. So there is a key to that. But it's whatever you think you want to be, you will become. The whole aspect of the first dimension that we learn within unity is I am. I am the supreme consciousness of what people refer to as God, creation, and source is actually consciousness. It's what we learn within the first dimension.
Yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely. It's all consciousness related.
Absolutely.
It's driven by the consciousness, and our imaginary is our creator. And then our thoughts are an engine behind that. So you definitely have to be careful with what you're saying and how you say it, especially in these higher energies now, because you're ordering it up. You're like getting the menu and you're ordering that right up, coming out on your plate. Might be a crap sandwich, but you said it, so you got it. So you have to be careful.
I feel like thoughts in your words are sort of like, that's when you're speaking from the menu, but when you're feeling behind it, that's sort of the, what is the word?
Catalyst.
The engine push that drives it out. So like if you're thinking, like you could be like, I am prosperous, but if you're feeling totally not prosperous and you're feeling depressed because you're not prosperous, the universe is going to go, no, you're not. You are lying. What you're doing. So you have to also have the emotion behind it of the joy and the gratitude and feeling blessed and feeling well taken care of. You've got to like literally emotionally feel it. And if you don't, lower the bar a little bit, then work your way up. Start with hope. If you're like low, can you get to hope? If you can get to hope and hope for something, step one, and then work your way up. But emotion is like the engine that drives the thoughts and the words of selecting what you want.
Absolutely.
And if you have to talk yourself into it, you know that you're not there yet. Because I remember when I was first learning about the law of attraction, and I was like, that is actually one of the first things I tell people. I'm like, get the law of attraction books, get them on tape, because that helped me so much. It teaches you so much. But I remember at the first going, okay, I'm gonna do this, and I'm like, I'm prosperous. Oh, I think, oh God,
like,
and you just,
I think I can.
I know, I'm like, I love myself so much.
And then you're looking, yeah.
No. You have to talk yourself into it. You're not quite there yet, but yeah, just like Jen said, just keep trying to, I always tell people, try to dial it up a little bit, try and dial up that. I see it as like a dial. For me, that's the best way that I could understand it, is to just dial that a little bit, like negative to positive, just kind of go, just the tiniest little bit of the most smallest bit of hope.
I always
Still
say,
going to make you feel better a little bit.
I always say, start with just make a list of the things that you are grateful for. You are grateful for. And every day when you get up, think of one thing that you're grateful for. And if you do that for 21 days, you'll begin to see everything in a brighter light.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And that's the whole thing. What's beautiful is that every one of us have different perspectives and how to raise our, and they're all right, and they're all correct. What also had helped me was doing affirmation meditations. When you get up in the morning, I would do the I am affirmation meditation, and that always makes me feel good. It raises my vibration, makes me feel I can I'm like Superwoman or something like that, put on my spiritual cape and start flying around the house, scared the cats, kind of thing. So just joking, but anyway, it makes you feel like you're on top of the world.
Every time I'm doing meditation and I'm raising my vibrations, it's like cat heaven. They all come sitting on me.
They do.
I'm suddenly, all of a sudden I'm like Buddha with like a statue
Yeah.
with all these cats on me.
Yeah.
Because they're like, I want some of that stuff. I like it.
I got 5
His
cats,
cats
and
are
I
high
turn into the cat
vibration.
lady every morning, you know?
Yeah. We have 4 here. And they'll find their way to my, even the dogs up there when I'm meditating. I'm like, wow, you guys, give me some room, scoot over.
Jessica, Nancy said, excellent on your explanation. And Bobby said, it's taken me 20 years to change my thoughts and ways. I have a very loud vibration. My boss tells me when she knows I walk by her. That's funny. And Bobby says, my dial likes to move a lot. I feel other vibrations. Does that make any sense? Number one, I want to tell you, you can actually lock in your dial to a certain part. You have all different kind of dials that you can create for yourself. And that's what I really like to do. And I like to put mine all on the highest vibration as I possibly can. So I see that was in Hermetic teaching, a little book that I have on Hermetic teaching. And I was like, ooh, I need those dials because, you know, it's so easy to get down in the dumps really, really quickly, especially with energies going back and forth, stuff that might happen in your life, whatever. And I like set it at the highest possible for all the good stuff. And then I just lock it in. But I do have to tell you, one thing that doesn't work for me is when we get a new moon or full moon, it tends to like go all wonky. So then I make sure I set it back up again. Sometimes I kind of throw off on those times. That's just a little tidbit from me.
I was at Target the other day, and I was waiting for my daughter, and I was sitting there with the cart, and one of the he was a teenager worker. He come around, and I could feel his aura smack into mine. And he went around this way, and I looked at him. I went, "Poor child. Good luck. Good luck with that." Because I just had been through a weekend of all this keys and codes and all this energy and all this. I was like, "Okay, he's going to be getting a rude awakening."
Ooh, so I got to ask you guys, how was your what was the day like on Saturday with the whole portal thing going on?
It was awesome. I even got a picture of like this. It was right in front of my garage. It was like this luminous light line. Like it was like, and then if you zoom in, it's almost like you could see like lion faces in it. It's crazy. And I was just like, whoa, that is so cool. But yeah, I was like, why isn't it open? You know, and my wife, she was like, well, I don't think it would be good if it was open.
Yeah. It was awesome for me Saturday too, because we did I worked with a group to do some Genesis codes and to do some groundwork and stuff like that. So it was really, really, really fun, high vibrational.
That's awesome. I was doing go ahead, Jen. Sorry.
I was just saying, I got together with a few people and we did a meditation to connect with the Neowise comet, and also to ground in the energies of both the comet and the energies from Sirius that are coming in. And it was really, it was really nice. And I felt amazing that day. I mean, it was just like, whee!
Yeah, that's how I was too.
I went and did a spirit fair in Midland at Ways to Wellness that day and did healings from like 10 o'clock till 4 o'clock. And then did another session where I got activated along with a very high vibrational friend of mine. I did work with her, and we both got activated, and I was like, okay, I'm good. I'm good. Then I slept really, really well that night. I just put it that way. I slept really, really well because I was like,
oh yeah, it seems like I was knocked out like till the next day. Wow.
I was toast. And then I had to sleep in again this morning, but I've been doing energy work every day. Yesterday that was kind of fun. Yesterday I did, the first time ever, I did a Archangel Metatron channeling class. Oh, wow. And Archangel Metatron would not let me write anything down ahead of time. So it was like really nerve-wracking for me. And I did it in Charlotte at the healing, at the Gifted Healing Arts Center. And that was amazing. And it was just absolutely amazing. So was I was kind of helping people learn how to open up their chakras to bring the channeling energy through. And they all got, I channeled up Metatron. He came into my body and settled into my heart chakra. That was really cool. And I didn't have to worry about anything. It was so much fun. So much fun. And then did some sessions and stuff like that. So I had an amazing weekend, but that was a lot of fun. Something new for me. Haven't done that before.
Whenever you work with Metatron, it's really high energy. It's really amazing. It's really amazing.
Amazing.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
it absolutely is. I love it, and that's what I teach within my dimensional, teachings and everything, especially with the third dimension. That was basically that was the birth of the matrix and everything. And it started with the tetrahedron, and then it winds up, going into, the different aspects of the of geometry. Geometry is sacred geometry. It connects to everything, especially when they talk about the, where it starts with the the Trinity. It's not as we were, taught by many religious, aspects of the Trinity being, the Father, Son, and Holy Ghost. It's more of vibration, energy, and body. So it's all one, and it links as one. And that's what I'll be doing my Facebook Live on, will be about the third dimension, where it is not only the birth of materialism, of course, with the 3D, we all know that, but it's also the birth of the geometry, the sacred geometry, and the network in the matrix as it is. So, good
Hey,
stuff.
Jessica, why don't you talk a little bit about, sorry, I didn't mean to stop you, but why don't you talk a little bit about your YouTube channel and all the stuff that you have out on there? Because you have so much free information on there. I don't know if people, so if you talk about it and tell them about all these different cool things. I was on a couple of them, by the way.
Well, my YouTube channel is called Vibe Talks, and we talk about many different things, about synchronicity. We talk about Metatron, Archangel Metatron, and everything else, and how it all came to be. I do a little bit of illustration and everything else, and then we talk about chakras. We talk about many different things that a lot of people want a better understanding on. And I've been a bad little girl. I haven't been keeping up on my channel because of trying to figure out the whole homeschooling thing with my daughter, but but it will be coming out. Matter of fact, as I've been talking about the dimensions and everything else, I'm not going to do any illustration. I'm just going to upload those so people can have a better understanding and how and everything is. But I do my Vibe Talk, and I have Kathleen as my guest a few times. I also have a really good friend of mine by the name of Felicity Long, who's extremely talented and it's very high, talks about high dimensional things, as well as a few other people. So, I always have guests there and everything to talk about many different things, to do some illustration with a little bit of music, to kind of get the vibes going. But it's awesome. It's a good way to learn and to educate ourselves about what is around us, so that way we can have a better understanding, because having better understanding raises our vibration and brings us to where we need to be.
I actually did a healing with, did you put that one on your channel? You did, didn't you?
The channel, no, but I did put it on Facebook. That will be on my channel here shortly. Yes.
Okay. Yep. So I did actually a heart healing session with Jessica, and it was just about 20 minutes long. And I really feel like, if that's okay to say, I feel like that one, as a matter of fact, could really go out to anybody who really needs a deep heart healing.
Mm-hmm.
That if you want to listen to that one, she's going to put, if you post that soon, that was
again.
Yeah. And so, and tell them how to find you on Facebook too. Do you want that?
Yeah, absolutely. I don't have no fancy website, guys. Sorry about that. But I do go on my Facebook, my Facebook, and I do a lot of lives and everything else, and talk about a lot of cool stuff and everything. And so if you guys want to stop by, follow me, and whatnot. And if you need the link to my channel, my YouTube channel, I can give that to you as well. But right at this time, I try to give people the knowledge that they need and everything. And I will be looking into doing, once I have a better understanding with this whole COVID thing. So yeah, maybe we'll go into the whole in-person type classes, for advanced learning in Ascension. So I'll be looking into
That sounds awesome. I'm gonna pull up your thing and share it on here really quick so people can find you.
So if you ladies don't mind, if I can take over the screen and do a little bit of show and tell with some pictures, I want to go and to talk about transition when you start to raise your vibration and when you start to transition, as a lot of us are doing. A lot of people right now, 2020 is one of the biggest awakenings that'll be in history. Okay. So a lot of people are awakening, and with that awakening, a lot of people are also looking into the whole aspect of learning about consciousness and the connections and thereof. And by doing so, a lot of people are also raising their vibrations. And so when they start, the more people are starting to be more health conscious, they're starting to do a lot of meditations. They're starting to look for different ways to learn and everything else. So I wanted to show you guys some pictures, if you don't mind, Kathleen, because it is your YouTube.
Oh yeah, I don't think I have to. I think you can do it. Yep.
Okay, sweet. Okay, so, all right, so, so when we start to change into the sun, as I said, the sun is key. And I know that a lot of people say that the sun flares and all that other stuff, but the thing is that the sun also, the camera has no consciousness. So it picks up things that we do not see with our two eyes, but it doesn't mean that it's not there. So within the transition and everything else, we'll have different aspects. And I've been transitioning myself, and the sun is key because it brings in those light codes and everything else. And sometimes the flares will also show where our energy patterns are at. Like purple, we all know that that is high in consciousness and everything else, and all the different varieties of different colors. So let me see if where's my arrow at? Where are you at? Okay, so these are just, I'm going to whip through some of these pictures and everything. These are just some of the pictures of, when I've been meditating with the sun. And, ooh, we are glitchy. So, and everything else, but it's just different aspects of transitioning. And as you can see in some of this right here, our celestial beings like to watch us wherever we're at. And if you see this, I could blow it up just a little bit more.
Babe, I'm only looking at the thumbnail. Or
Yeah.
the screen of thumbnails.
Do I have a screen of thumbnails? Is that what you guys
See,
are
that's what
looking
it
at?
looks like.
Oh, Lord have mercy. Why isn't it coming up?
I don't know.
Okay. That's weird.
I wonder if you have to open it first and then share screen.
You think? Okay.
Like
let's
maybe
let's try
open
that.
it.
Yeah, let's try that.
That's my guess.
Okay, so then I'll go over here.
Hold on, take a breath.
All right. Let's see, share. Now, can you see it?
Yeah!
Yes. Yay.
Better.
All right. So, as you can see, this is, can you see the next picture too? Let me know if you
Yep.
Okay, so we're in business, guys. So, sun, as I said, that the sun is key. When you meditate with the sun, it raises your vibration because the light, that's where the light codes are coming in. And so when we start there, and you know how when you go out and you garden and everything else, you start to feel better because not only are you grounded with the earth, but you're also getting the light codes from above. As above, so below. So you're getting in both ways. And so the light codes are coming in and you start to transition and everything else. And the sun also, a lot of people say, oh, this is sun flares, everything else, okay? But you got to understand the camera doesn't have a consciousness to manipulate. So the camera winds up picking up certain things that the eyes cannot see. And that's why a lot of ghost hunters walk around with video cameras and everything else, is because the fact that they know that it can pick up certain apparitions. And it can also pick up certain beings if you're a UFO hunter or whatnot. So it also picks up energy. So the energy flares like this right here and everything else, you're not going to see with your naked eye, but you're going to see in the camera. So we all know that the purple and everything else is of consciousness. And as you can see, I've been transitioning. And then we got a little friend that was watching me. But I'm just going to whip through some of these right here. But here is a little avian. I don't know if you guys can see it. Let me know if you can. I could blow it up.
Little tiny.
Yeah, maybe blow it up a little bit. Can you lighten it maybe?
I could try. I don't know how to lighten it from this point.
Is that the face up? Oh,
That's the avian.
right there. Okay.
With
Yeah,
the
you can
eyes,
see his eyes.
the face, the beak, right here, kind of blue.
Okay.
Okay.
Oh, yep, I can see.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How about you, Jen? Because I know that every time I show it, you're like, I can't see it.
Yeah, no,
All right. So, and then, as I said, I've been transitioning. Right here, if you see in my sunglasses, you got the avian right here. And then you have a reptilian right here.
Hmm.
You want me to blow it up more?
Sure.
Yeah?
Yep.
And then,
Oh, I could see it better when you closed it back down again. Isn't
Oh,
that
did
funny?
I? Hold on.
No, like I could see it. That's when I saw it was when you closed it back down. I was like,
Okay.
oh, then I could see it.
All right. So basically, you know, see how the sun right here? You see how it kind of made that? It's that weird circular. That's when you get the downloads. You know you're getting the downloads because it opens up like a portal, and it lets in that like code. So it's weird how the camera picks that kind of stuff up.
You can also see
The
consciousness.
bands right here.
Yep.
Kind of like the DNA strands, right?
Mhm.
Mm-hmm. By the way, I did share like your YouTube channel, but it looks kind of funky in the notes. So, but I did
Okay, I can fix
share
it.
Okay.
So this right here was one of those days where I knew there was a vessel close, and you can see the ripples in the clouds. He's camouflaging himself behind the sun, and he was like right there because I could feel him, feel the the pull, almost like he was trying to pull within my eurythic field, my my energetic spiritual field. Not sure what he was trying to do, but he was definitely there. I was kind of a little rough that day too. My hair all jacked up. Now here's some vessels that like to disguise themselves in clouds, as we all know they like to do. But we all know what they are. Don't you get a few of these, Kathleen?
Yeah, the one that I sent you a picture of one that I actually I posted it, and it was funny because I asked people what they thought it was, but I could feel the energy from whatever. I could feel the energy from that was. I could feel the energy from that, and I was like, that is not just nothing.
Yeah,
something in my yard. That's something directly above me, and I was doing a healing at the time. I was doing like a earth healing at the time, so. There were definitely beings that were helping us that day. I'm just
and then we have this little guy right here trying to, if you see the outside of his body, you got his little nose, his big eyes right here, looking down at me.
Definitely.
Yeah, they like to show up, definitely. But yeah, here's the one that I was telling you about that is an avian, but kind of looks crowish. It's I probably won't be able to lighten it up.
Is that in your house? Where is that?
Yeah, that's in my house. probably like, oh my God, they're in your house?
Well,
Really?
Well, there's dimensions and
Yep.
you know,
Interdimensional creatures as well as celestial. So, and I get them both. So yeah, just a few pictures, guys, just to give you guys a little bit of a snippet.
yeah.
So
That was cool show and tell, man. That was second show and tell time.
I told you I wanted to do a show and tell.
Yeah.
Now, you know, if you don't hear from me in a couple of days and you hear me sitting there seeing some guys in some black suits came and visited me, you know?
I just watched that last night, actually. That's kind of funny.
oh my gosh.
I'd be like, Kathleen, 911.
911.
Don't use that crystal. Don't use that crystal.
I've already used it. Sorry.
Oh.
I might have to borrow that crystal.
You know, it's kind of like one of those
so-
simple things where you're like terrified as hell, and then it's like, tell me more.
Yeah.
More.
Well, Lindsay says, I wonder if the crab lizard I saw was one of these interdimensional creatures.
I don't know.
I
I
assumed it was spirit taking form.
well, Lindsay, interdimensional beings can look spiritual to us. But I saw some Simon Parks. I don't know if you're familiar with Simon Parks. He's got a group called Connecting Consciousness, and he has YouTube videos. And I totally forgot because I remember you saying this on another video. But he had someone write into him saying that they had also seen a crab-like creature crawling on her wall. And he explained to her what it was. I cannot remember it to save my life. Shoot, I'll see if I can get that video to you. I'll see if I can find the one that it's like a 2-hour video, but he does answer that question because he's had meetings and connections with interdimensional beings since childhood. And his mom worked for M6 because he's British.
Yeah.
And she actually moved to the States to investigate crash sites. So he's dealt with aliens and weird shit from since he was a kid. So he knows a lot of this stuff, but he answered that exact question. I totally forgot you said that, but holy crap, the fact that you and somebody else had that experience, that is friggin' fascinating.
Yeah, she says it looks like a lizard but walks like a crab.
His name was Simon Parks, and I think his YouTube channel is called Simon Parks too. And it would have been the Connecting Consciousness conversation from like, oh God, maybe 2 weeks ago. I hope that helps.
Well, you also got to understand too, like I said earlier, is that a lot of these celestial as well as interdimensional species. Okay, the animal kingdom that we have, you know, whether that be bugs, insects, animals, or whatnot, are representations of different species that are out there, and there's a lot that are not categorized from humans. You know what I'm saying? That we're not categorized, that you won't find on Google. You know, you won't find anywhere else. And I've met quite a few of them that it's kind of like, okay, what are you? You know, not that it matters because it really doesn't, but you know, for your own self, you know, sanity, you know,
Morbid curiosity.
right?
Yeah.
Right. So, you know, the thing is that, and it's fascinating because each one of them bring like a certain perspective of wisdom that just is completely, absolutely mind blown. And it's kind of like your IQ just grows just being around them. You're just like, you know, and then when you start to try to talk to other people, they're just kind of looking at you going, you're weird. What? You know?
Yes, I
like you're talking about dimensional what? You know? But you know, the thing is that it just gives you a whole different aspect of what's around us, and that there's so much more to life than what we have been told, then you also open your eyes and you're like, oh my goodness, I've been lied to all my life,
Mhm.
you know? And I've had these experiences since I was young too.
Mhm.
And I remember me and my sister used to be terrified, all the time, because we didn't understand it. We didn't understand what we were dealing with, and we couldn't understand like what we were seeing because we both had gifts.
Mhm.
So we would get visions and everything else that we couldn't understand. Like everything that's happening now is what I've already seen when I was young.
Mhm.
And it used to terrify me because I didn't know how to interpret it. I didn't know how to understand that. And and my brother, God rest his soul, he was scared of it. He wanted nothing to do with it. Nothing. You know. Um, to him it was just too surreal. He didn't want no dealings with it whatsoever.
Yeah.
So he just kind of blocked it out. So, and that happens. There's some people that it's so terrifying, it's so scary because sometimes we as humans we fear things we don't understand.
Mhm.
And we just shut ourselves down, and that's why it's so impressionable for children to keep their vibration and everything, because they're the closest to being able to see things. That's why kids have what they call make believe or imaginary friends, or whatever. It's not so imaginary if you ask me. That's my opinion.
Not
But
all.
they're close. They connect with that vibration. Their energy is so raw that if they were to try to heal you, like my daughter did to me one day, and it caught me off guard. She's like, "Mommy, I can heal you." She put her hand on my chest, and I thought I was going to have a heart attack. I was like, "Whoa, whoa, whoa! No, let's table that, little one." You're trying to kill mommy. Let's not do that. So.
I think that's why you should let her do it, because I think, though powerful, I think it would be really good.
Yeah, it is, but it was just like it caught me off guard. I didn't know what to think. I was just like,
It's pretty cool.
Yeah.
So,
That is pretty cool.
my alien experiences started when I was a kid, but they started physical, meaning they were physically in my bedroom, which actually it was this room, because this was my room as a child. Now it's my office. Actually, they were sitting where I'm sitting, basically.
oh wow, that's awesome.
That was right here, and but that was a physical visit. But I was like 6, 7, and you know how they kind of make you feel what is like like dreamy, like
euphoric.
Yeah, but not like but more like like, am I awake or am I asleep? And you're sort of like, is this real or
in between state? Yeah.
And so they kind of got me out of bed, and I swear I was floating, because I didn't feel like I was walking, and I had one on either side of me escorting me. And the one like head being was telepathically saying to me with this beautiful soft woman's voice, saying, "It's okay, come with us, we're not gonna hurt you, come with us, just get up." And I'm kind of like, okay, because I don't know.
Right.
I don't know, I'm
right.
sick. And they take me downstairs, and they have me sit on one of our couches, and the two that escorted me were sitting on either side, and there were others that were in our family room, looking at our stuff, like looking at things, like, what is this? And they handed me, this is the weird part, they handed me one of our bowls. Like, I swear they got into my kitchen and got out one of our little dessert bowls and a spoon, and in the bowl was this clear gel, and it looked almost like it, but softer, like if you were to make Jell-O with water, like crystal clear. It was crystal clear, and it had no taste. And the female that was communicating, or at least sounded female, just said, "Go ahead, eat this. It's not going to hurt you. Just eat this, and you can go to bed." And I'm just like, okay. So I did. I have no memory of getting back into bed. I remember waking up the next morning and I looked out my window. We used to have a lot of pine trees outside the window, and there was a screech branch in just outside the window. And I went to call my mom so that she could see. I'd never seen owls because it was free. You never see owls in real life, so I'd never seen an owl that wasn't like in a zoo. And so I was like trying to call for my mom, and it was like my voice was muted. I could not communicate. I couldn't speak, couldn't yell, nothing. And I tried the third time to call her, and like mid-word, it came out. Well, then that became an exciting thing. So I ran and like a 6-year-old does, I told her all about the owl and then how I couldn't talk. And so I tried to talk. And I tell you what, it wasn't until I was in high school and I read the Whitley Strieber's book, Communion, that I realized it was friggin' real. Once I was old enough to start watching like alien shows, because at the time I was only allowed to watch like Sesame Street,
Right.
Polka Dot Door, Electric Company, Muppet.
Oh, yeah.
I wasn't allowed to, Golden Girls, like that kind of thing. But actually, I was able to watch like alien stuff. So I kind of kept thinking, well, I don't think I was exposed to that, so I don't think I dreamt it. And so I kept watching alien shows as I was old enough to watch them to figure out if it was real or a dream. And of course now I'm terrified because all the alien shows showed like, anal probes and all these god awful things.
Oh yeah, they scare the crap out of you. Yeah.
They were pretending to be nice. They were really evil, and I don't know. And so when I read this book, they talked about so many people saw owls after their abductions or visitations. I was like, oh, holy crap. And then in another section, because at the end of after he tells his story, he goes into interviewing abductees. Owls was one thing that people saw, and another experience that a lot of people had was being fed something. I had an anxiety attack because that was like, it happened. That was real. And then this was 2013. I was working with a new channeler trying to get some answers to, I just found out that I was channeling a divine being, and I was like, nuh-uh. So I was asking like 532 channelers if this was real because I didn't believe it. And he was one, but I'd never worked with him before. So I'm like, I'm going to ask a question then that you can never know the answer to because it's too freaking weird. So I said, all right, when I was a kid, I was visited by aliens and they fed me something. What was it? And I really did want to know. And he said, yes, we see that it was a clear gel and they fed it to you so that it could raise your vibration so that you could live your life's purpose, which I didn't know before then would be what I'm doing now. And I was like, A, he's legit, and B, I'm so glad that was what it was. And I said, so were they, and so they could keep an eye on me or keep track of me. And I was like, yes. Oh, great. But I said, were they good? And he was like, oh yeah, they were very good, very benevolent. And thank God. I'm like, but they were pretending. I don't know. So that was my experience, but it took like you a long time. Well, I don't know if it took you, it took me a long time to realize that happened. And then since I've been an adult, I've had more experiences, but they've either been in my bedroom, but they were like non-physical, more interdimensional, or astral visitation.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And that's another point too, that when you
but
yeah, well, that's another thing too. When you astral project and everything, you wind up meeting entities at that point too. Mm-hmm. Because you got to understand, when we wind up astral projecting, we're in one spot, but we're able to multi-dimensional travel to many different layers within that. So within that, we're winding up meeting different, entities. We're coming to them rather than them coming to us.
Yes.
So basically, what people don't understand is that as humans, third dimensional humans, we're a lot stronger than what we even give ourselves credit for. We're not victims by any means. We make ourselves victims if we so choose, but we're not victims. We're actually stronger than what we believe we are, because we're able to travel to many different dimensions, and we're able to, the more that we connect, the more that Gaia or Earth and the universe is going to basically give you more sacred or secrets
Mhm.
within. You know, they're not going to give you any more than what you can handle. So if you try to say, "Hey, I'm ready," you know, you're not lying to nobody. They know you better than anything,
Yes.
and they're only going to give you what you can handle. And you know, the thing is that the more that you connect, the more you start having, it's going back to the first dimension of unity, of when the consciousness winds up wanting to know itself, you know. So we wind up knowing ourselves. We bring ourselves out and we start to get to know ourselves as we start to travel and climb. So when I first had winded up having my experience, my vibration wasn't up there yet. So when I first had it, I was overwhelmed with that energy. That energy was just like, I would get into a really bad mood because that energy was just so overwhelming, you know? And I had to raise my vibration and they helped me to meet them. And I was going to say that clear liquid was exactly to raise your vibration, to put you where you needed to be.
Yeah.
You know?
I think it was like a silica gel.
Mm-hmm. They sometimes when they take you to a vessel, they also put this like gel stuff on you, okay? Because we sometimes have nanobots or microbes or anything from being here on this planet, and they don't want that in their vessel. So they'll kind of like sterilize us in a way, and put that stuff on it, and we'll be like terrified. I had one person say, "Well, why do they freeze us?" You know, and it's like, okay, well, think about this. Let's go with that. Okay, so if you are noted as a human being who basically wants to defeat what scares you, you know, to kill what scares you, when you freeze it too, when you, what's the difference between what we can go out to that wild and we tranquilize a lion, you know, so we could tag it and examine it.
Mhm.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
We don't want the lion to eat us, you know. So the humans
Yeah.
are the same way, because when we see something that scares us, what is our first instinct? It's to basically defeat what scares us.
Yeah.
So for them to freeze us, it's not only to protect ourselves from eating ourselves, because we
Running off a cliff to get away from them.
right, to hurt ourselves, right, but to also hurt them. You know what I'm saying? You know, that's a good one. I like that, Bonnie. But you know,
I will say when they not froze, I mean, kind of froze.
yeah.
When they froze me, and that's a good way of putting it, and they like, I felt like they were moving me. I don't think I was doing the moving.
No,
but
you weren't.
Calm me, because there was a little bit of me going, is this real? Is this happening? I think this is happening. So there was so much of me kind of feeling like it, like trying to work out if it was a dream or real, that it allowed me to, I was too busy trying to work that out to be scared because of what I felt. So Lindsay says, I thought my extraterrestrial experiences were dreams when I was little. Now I'm not so sure. They were not, those were astral visitations.
Yes, they were.
A lot. She says they took me to a place that was sand as far as your eyes could see, and they escorted me to these tables that they were assembling machines or technological objects. Crazy to think these may not have been dreams. They were not.
They were not dreams. Sorry, Lindsay.
This is weird. She says, I also couldn't speak or yell. I wanted to scream for my dad, and nothing would come out. Wild. Yeah, I had an astral visitation with a lion being, and that was awesome. That was so cool. I keep telling him to come back. It was so great. He gave me 2 dreams, and it was that like kind of what is it? Twilight, where you're like kind of asleep, so you're starting to dream, you know. And he showed up looking like a cartoon at first because he was enormous.
Yeah.
Oddly, he was blue and had no hair, where you would think the lion beings that we see have hair.
Right. Not all of them do. They're few species. They have many different.
Yeah, this one had no hair. He had blue skin. He was wearing those Egyptian skirts, you know, whatever the Egyptian skirts, you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, we all know. We got you.
And he had a spear, and his instead of like a mane, it was like different colored what is the, like tentacles? That's not quite right, but it's like they were like tubes of flesh that they were different colored though. They weren't blue. It was like red and orange and green and
He
yellow.
was probably a mixed race.
And then he had his mane on the chin was one long blue thing, and his teeth were bared. And so you know how the lion, the teeth are bared, and so the nose is crinkly. He looked friggin' terrifying. But the love that came from him was as much as it was when I was visited by an angel for the first time. It was undeniable. And then I woke and I heard guardian. And then I woke up and I was like, fell back, like immediately fell back to sleep. And then he appeared immediately again once I was in twilight, but this time he appeared as his real self. And again, guardian. And the love was just, it was like I couldn't be afraid of him. The love beautiful. Was so strong, I couldn't be afraid. And then just this year, I figured out who the hell he was, or at least who I think it was. And it's Sekhmet's son, Mahes, Maahes.
Oh, wow.
And someone a friend of mine sent me a picture of a statue that he was looking at some fair. And I was like, oh, holy crap, that's who I was visited by. Who is that? And he's like, oh, that's the god Mahes. So then I get on Google DuckDuckGo. And sure enough, here's pictures of him with a spear or like a sickly looking thing.
Wow.
Was a guardian of Mott.
Wow.
So I'm like, yep, guardian. Holy shit balls. And then he is the guardian of the Blue Lotus. He's friggin' blue.
Yeah.
So just like
that's my
mind equals friggin' blue. So now
that's amazing.
I don't know if you guys saw my recent post for the 8-8 Lionsgate, but I posted a picture of a male lion, and it's an image of Mahes that I bought from an artist on Etsy because he's got the thing, and I'm like, that's him. That's going in my bedroom. It was so cool.
That's amazing.
I know I've had others that were astral, but that's the one that, I mean, I've had loads of astral visitations, but alien-wise, that's the only other one that I can recall offhand.
Well, the thing is that people, have this persona that if it looks scary looking, it must be bad. No. I mean, that's like judging a book by cover, right? Okay, so let me give you a little bit of a story. So I was upset one time, with my parents and that whole hurrah, and I was crying, and this was like a few years ago. And I had a visit, and they cloaked themselves where I couldn't exactly see, but I could feel this. I heard this vibration. It was like a singing. It was like a humming vibration. It was the most beautiful sound I have ever heard in my life. Mm-hmm. It could never be copied by anything. Okay. Mm-hmm. And it calmed me. It automatically just calmed and soothed me. Mm-hmm. Well, days later, I asked, what was that? What was that? And that's when they started talking about the mantis. This mantis came up. Mm-hmm. It was green. And they're a part of the insectoid. Mm-hmm. They stand about 6 feet. And they have this organ in their midsection that vibrates. Okay. And it can either vibrate to knock you out, as they're great anesthesiologists, or it can calm you. And it's all vibration. And they're the most enchanting, beautiful beings ever, and so loving. And they are definitely collective. If you talk to one, you're talking to them all. Okay. And they're telepathic. And they're like the scientists, the doctors. So if you ever had like a procedure that needed to be done, like a tumor or anything like that, they will quickly remove it. And they're very quick. You may not think, because their hands are like this, that they're quick, but they're very, very quick. Mm-hmm. But they're extremely, extremely spiritual, extremely high vibrational, and they're extremely loving. So when I was upset and I heard that vibration, it was funny because when you were talking about your story, that popped in my mind of my experience. Mm-hmm. And So it's the thing of, you know, it doesn't matter if it looks scary and this and that and the other. People, I get so frustrated with sometimes with the UFO community because they'll try to say that this particular species is evil, this one is good, and this and that and the other. We're getting into the third dimensional thinking frame
Yeah.
mind, okay? Because the simple, it's like this, okay? I says, I had an argument with somebody. I was like, okay, let's go with that, okay? So if it's, would it be fair to say that all humans who are violent and destroy the planet and everything else, that they're all bad? Let's let the whole galaxy know that all humans are horrible people. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
That's basically what you're saying.
Right.
Not all of them are. We know that's not. We know that's not fact.
Yeah.
So that's kind of like celestial prejudice, if you will.
True.
So
Reptilians are high on the list, and you actually, by bringing this up, you reminded me of my other and actually most recent visitation, and that was by a reptilian. Oh, and I was visited by a Draco, and you know, Jessica, that I think is one of the species that I would have to say I will make a jerk face statement and say that I don't think that there are any positive, benevolent service to others Dracos.
we'll have a
I could be
conversation
wrong.
later.
Huh?
We'll have a conversation later.
Okay. But okay, so the reptilian. Now I knew reptilians. They're a bad rap because they always get confused with Dracos, and the Dracos are the more not so kind ones. But reptilians and Dracos are related, but they're the Dracos are from, well, the Draco system, and the reptilians, if I remember correctly, I think they came from another star, or came from around another star in the Draco system, but they moved to Orion, and so they're now associated with the Orion system. And in the dream, it was an enormous green reptilian, but he was wearing like royal, like a royal robe almost, and he had an elongated head, and he had a crown on his head, and it was like gold, and it was like two gold, like, I'm gonna go like this, like fins almost going up this pointed path. Mm-hmm. And he had a very human looking face, but it was, you know, reptilian skin, like green and lumpy. And he was like smiling and being really sweet, and he's in my bedroom. Okay, I'm in my living room, and I hear a voice say, "He's a nice guy." And so I go to my bedroom because I was like, I don't know about that guy. So I go to my bedroom, and he's smiling at me, and you can tell he's a legit nice guy. And then I'm put in like a semicircle, and everyone next to me are people that I know from this lifetime. And it was as if to say, all of us are all related to that being. So I'm also reptilian. Mm-hmm. Then I'll say we, I'm referring to my best friend Crescent, and we were able to deduce that reptilian was Osiris. Mm-hmm. And if you look at pictures of Osiris, dude's got green skin and a hat with the gold friggin' thing. I'm like, yes, holy crap. So, yes. So it was just, which ties into my connection with Orion, Osiris, Isis. Ever since I was a kid, I couldn't get enough about ancient Egypt, Osiris, Isis, the pyramids of Giza, blah, blah, blah. So it was like explaining all of that, but that was another visitation, but it does tie into not all reptilians are evil. Yeah, reptilians are more like humans. They're very much like humans, where there's that scale of you can be a total jerk and evil and like mass murderer, or you can be a nice guy. Right. Well, then you gotta also understand too. Okay, the dinosaurs. All right, many eons ago, they say that they were extinct. Well, no, they evolved. Just like anything else. Now, see, it's not just reptilians. There's a lot more other species, but we'll get into that later. But and there, but the thing is that with dinosaurs, they didn't exactly go extinct. They evolved. Some evolved, and everything else. Some of them live,
in the trenches of the caves of the earth, and some of them live off planet in different aspects and different dimensions. But a lot of people do derive within the reptilian aspect because they did, as just like any other species and everything, they've had their hands in the genetic cookie jar as well to create humans.
Oh yeah.
Okay? So every one of them had their hands in the genetic cookie jar, if you will.
Mm-hmm.
So every one of them, if you haven't noticed, every person who has contact, they say, oh, they were the ones that said they created us. Well, if you really think about it, there's a lot of different species that created humans. Okay, humans are relatively young. Okay, and they were created. They were reseeded, and we'll go into the whole history of how that happened, and it's all within the Akasha records. Bonnie Burd.
That's where I was going at. I was gonna say everyone, we have an aspect pretty much in every galactic civilization.
We do.
And so I was getting all excited because she's going in my area. Because I was like, yes, yes, yes. We have one.
Everyone, the star stayed.
Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah, we definitely have. And then we also, here's another mind blower. We have aspects that are here, right here on Earth that we can run right into. It's it only takes 3 ounces of our spirit energy to animate a body. So
Yeah.
we're never ending. So why would we only do one lifetime, one
holographic
time? Yeah.
We're perspectives and
We're never ending.
Yes, absolutely.
So there's never going to be an end to your family that you're going to meet. Is what I want to say.
Absolutely not. Absolutely. I could feel her excitement coming through the Zoom over here. I was like, oh, she's getting excited. I'm starting to hit a warm area right there.
Yeah, because I was thinking, you'll meet someone new every day, especially when you're in the Akashic records and you're working and you're helping other aspects heal, because it's not all about just us healing. It's all about healing all of our aspects.
Exactly.
So when we heal something here, it goes out to our aspects. So we're helping them raise along with us, and they're helping us. So it's pretty amazing when you get into how it really works.
Well, I mean, when I got my memory back after I went through, and I went through my downloads and everything else after Kathleen had opened me up. It's crazy how that story too, because it was my birthday. And my wife was like, what do you want for your birthday? I said, I need a Reiki healing. I need to be set free, because I was doing so much of other things, but there was that one thing that I needed to get done, and I could not do it by myself. I knew I couldn't. So I was out on a search, if you will, So she, Renee had came up on, this expo that was happening and everything. So we went there. And Kathleen was just wrapping up on her little, speech that she was doing and everything. And I was kind of watching her. It was like I knew it, but she was like busy. Everybody was just like swarmed her, messing with my, So I was like, okay, So I checked out some of the other, talented, readers and everything to see, and I was kind of like one of those things. I like to play this game of what can you read from me? So so I was going to different ones, see what I could get, and there were some that were pretty good. I was impressed. So I was like, okay, and then as I was leaving out, I had a conversation with Kathleen's husband. And him and I just totally hit it off and everything. And I started telling him about my YouTube channel and everything. And we started, shooting the shit. And, he's like a cool guy. He kind of reminds me of Wolverine. And I call him that all the time. I even brought him steaks, Wolverine's hungry, He's the Wolverine. So, and I gave him my information. He was like, yeah, I could my wife would love to talk with you. You leave your information. I'll make sure I get to her. I was like, okay. So I sit there and I met her daughter too. And so I gave my information, And I sit there and I went on my way. You know, it was a great birthday. You know, my poor wife, she wasn't feeling all that great, but she made the best that she could. God help her. I love her heart. You know, so we sit there and like the next day, I didn't expect this. Like she was quick. Like the next day, she calls me. I'm like, I didn't recognize the number, so I had my wife call. You know, because she's really good at scaring off people that don't need to be on the freaking phone. So my wife's like, hello. Like, this is Kathleen. Lucy, it's for you. Okay. So after I got talking to her, it was just like me and her hit it off great, right off the bat. And so
Kathy has that effect on people.
yeah,
She's very likable.
absolutely. So I had her do some healing on me, and she started healing me and everything, and I started to feel better. She started seeing some things, and then it was like when she did that heart healing, that heart chakra, that was like the last point, besides my third eye, because it was her and another other Reiki healer I was working with. So I was getting everything aligned and cleared up. There was one point that it was my heart chakra and my third eye that was left. The third eye was kind of like clouded. It was been bruised a few times because there was some downloads that happened. It was like 5 downloads in one, God forbid, and nearly knocked my energetic socks off. So anywho, so she sits there and she heals my heart chakra. And I went through a lot of trauma in this lifetime and with my family. And when she had rooted out my heart chakra, there was a lot of sludge, there was a lot of rotted things. And when she had sit there, pulled all that out, I felt like I got hit and slugged in the chest with the telephone pole,
Sorry.
And no, that's all right. She kept asking me, she's like, are you okay? I'm like, and I'm like, trying to be this tough chick. Yeah, I'm cool. Yeah, I'm good. She's like, aren't you gonna go swimming? Yeah, no, I'm good. Yeah. You didn't eat very much. Are you sure she's over here trying to feed me and everything? I'm like, no, I'm good.
Is your daughter tried to heal your heart too?
Yeah.
So obviously you needed it, so that's good.
Yeah.
Oh, it was pretty bruised.
I mean,
When you go through a core healing like that, it takes time to heal.
Oh yeah,
that's a huge amount of energy that's trapped down in there.
Yeah, and your chest muscles
are sore.
It really feels like you got slugged with a telephone pole.
Wow.
And and it took a good week for me to come back around. Because Kathleen was sitting there calling me, going, "I just wanted to check on you. Are you sure you're okay?" She knew the bullshit meter. Her bullshit meter was going, she's lying. She's lying.
I got a really good bullshit meter. It's going strong now.
Exactly. Like her bullshit meter was just went off the chart. Like she is just so lying to me. I know she is. So and like I said, after that, it was just like everything started happening like this. And I was showing Kathleen, I was telling her my whole journey, and she was just like, whoa. I'm like, whoa, and, so it's been great,
So amazing. So amazing.
Absolutely.
That just
they
shows
put
you
us all together.
Yeah, it shows you how much. I've actually had quite a few people telling me lately that that after I did, or after we did a healing, I did with did a healing with them, that most people don't tell me that they had that hard of a time with it, but I actually ran into 2 people on Saturday, and they were like, holy crap, when the last time I worked with them, actually some of them were the Christ consciousness upgrades and stuff like that. And usually the Christ consciousness one I only do with most of the time with light workers that are working on people and stuff like that, that are ready for it. So it's got to be something that they're ready for. And after they go through those things and they're just like, holy crap, I started seeing spirit all over the place. Or I was getting like all this information all of a sudden, boom, boom, boom. So it's been really quick lately. Once we do those core wounds, there's been a lot of core wound people when even just like I said, just doing the Christ consciousness. So people are really just like exploding with energy and getting
It's
so
the-
much more information.
It's this higher energy, and I'm getting the same thing. It's just this. People are, but it takes a minute, especially the heart, to get it to move out. But once it shifts out of there, it's like almost sky's the limit.
Oh
you
yeah,
know?
well you got to understand our heart is also the portal of
Yeah,
what we can travel
absolutely.
through the dimensional, the different dimensions.
Mhm.
So, you got, what I tried to teach within the second dimension, we have, people try to say the negative energy and negative energy. Oh God, it's like the boogeyman. But what it is that, when you stand in a room with light, okay, the more closer you get to light, the more of a shadow you cast, right? So you have this right here. You have the negative that's right here. So you got two, and you're doing this dance. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
And what it is that negative energy is pushing you right to the direction that you need to be in. So it's not necessarily looking into that duality of light and dark, all that persona, but it's without it, nothing else would exist. So, we have to look at things in a different perspective. And I had this very conversation with this one guy. He was an engineer and everything, and how everything is more practical with, and everything, is if they can't see it, then it doesn't exist. So him and I started talking about consciousness and everything, and he started looking at me. He's like, "Who are you? People don't think like that." And I'm like, "Oh, I'm just a little human right here. No problem."
What's funny though is that the number of people that do think like that is actually pretty enormous.
It
It
is.
just depends on what circle you run in.
Exactly.
Yeah.
If
Exactly.
you're in a weirdo circle
Yeah.
like we do, this is
Yeah.
par for the course.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And it's, and the more you connect to, those particular people are going to cross your paths more.
Mhm.
And you're going to start it's kind of like, if you end up doing bad things, making wrong decisions or whatever, because it's fun, and
Bad, wrong. No such thing as bad and wrong. It's no such thing as bad and wrong, but yeah,
right.
bad.
Yeah. Well,
Or
for the,
evil.
you know,
Evil.
Well,
but
what we're doing
those
now is
people-
that we're bringing up when somebody
Mhm.
comes into your life that does push those buttons. What they're doing is they're bringing up something that's within you that needs to be healed.
Bingo.
So they're showing you something about
Bingo.
yourself.
Mhm.
And once you start emptying that out, you got more room for the light,
Exactly.
for the wisdom.
So
And
if
so
you got
that's
that person who you can't stand, why it does that? Why? What thing does that person bug you? Why does that person bug you?
Yeah.
And then you start looking in yourself, and you're like, oh, yeah, I am kind of like that. I am a control freak. Yeah, that's why she pisses me off.
Yeah.
yeah. And then that's why the shifts happen, because you start releasing that dark energy or heavier energy. I would just say heavier energy.
Mhm.
And so then you're getting things out of your way so that you can move forward. And it's like bam, bam, bam. Sometimes you don't even want to move that fast. You're like, oh no, but they're calling me up
even-
going, oh my God,
Right.
this and this and this happened. Is that normal? It's like, for you it is.
Yeah, it is. It is. And did you know that, well, you guys, I know you ladies know, I don't know why I'm saying that, but the sixth dimension, people don't realize that, the light and dark, they work together. Your frustrated, spiritual guide is probably like this going, I have told this person so many times. I tried to tell her. She keeps sticking the fork in the light socket. I just keep telling her. So then the dark comes in and goes, oh, well, I can fix that. You're sitting there with the fork going, and it's, well, she's not going to do that anymore.
Absolutely true.
And
So,
ta-da!
yeah, exactly. Ta-da, problem solved, So,
Well, you're absolutely right, and I've noticed too that with the dark beings that come to us to either make the one, like if you've ever been attacked by a negative energy at night and they make you feel powerless, and or they give you a scary dream where they try to make you feel power. It's always about making you feel powerless. The
It's
whole
a
thing
lesson.
is to make you learn how to learn. It's to teach you to utilize and know your own power.
Exactly.
And oftentimes,
Exactly.
an aspect, a shadow aspect of yourself.
Yep.
But they're kind of doing their job.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So an aspect of the creative source.
Sometimes they call them initiations, you know.
Mhm.
Yes,
When
exactly.
you're ready for the next level, they'll do something that freaks you out, you know.
Yeah.
Absolutely. The creative source is playing all of the roles,
Exactly.
including the dark ones. And
Exactly.
so
Exactly.
We all
Them-
won.
Exactly.
you can't condemn the negative ones because they're supposed to be negative. That's their job.
Well, just like, okay, on a physical aspect, okay, you're working, you have these mean girls that come around, you know, and make you feel powerless, okay, tell you, you know, say all kinds of mean things and all this other stuff. You feel, you feel like crap, and then all of a sudden you just have enough of it. You're just so sick of it, and then you just sit there and you stand up for yourself, and then all of a sudden you don't have that situation occur in your life again.
Yes.
You know, it's the same thing within the energetic aspect too.
Yes, and what's interesting too is when that happened to me, it was an opportunity for me to clear that karma from being bullied as a kid. I was bullied as an adult.
It says broadcast interrupted. Does it say that on yours?
No,
Mine says live on Facebook.
Yeah, mine says
I
live.
didn't see that.
It's on the phone that I'm seeing broadcast interrupted.
Oh,
Hmm.
I didn't see that.
Mine's saying live.
Yeah, I think we're good. I'm still seeing us.
Okay.
What the hell was I talking about? Oh, at work. Right. Okay. Once I was able to do what I needed to do to clear that karma by essentially telling them who they are and what they're doing and why they're doing it, which of course dismantles everything they were doing. They all one by one, like took different positions, quit their job, like they just fell away because they did their job. We served each other's karmic purpose.
Exactly.
Same sort of thing.
For sure.
Oh, we did lose Jessica. That was the broadcast.
Yeah, just froze. Yeah.
Dang. I was wondering why I couldn't tell if she was just listening intently.
It
She'll
said
come
I
back
did
in.
once about 10 minutes ago on my screen, but it's been fine ever since.
Thank you, Adam.
Okay.
Thank you, Lisa. So she'll come back in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm going to make another point about the dark and light and blah, de blah, working together. Oh, I didn't know until like this year that there was like negative light and positive light and negative dark and positive dark. That kind of blew my mind. And then I went, yeah, because there's got to be polarities of all like kind of variations essentially, because it's sort of like, magnets and atoms and all those things. So you can have all those different polarities to create greater opportunities to manifest different things and play different roles and I found that kind of fascinating, and I was sort of like, why the hell didn't I realize that before? Why did I have to hear that from somebody else?
You know why? Because your consciousness, as it stretches,
Mm-hmm.
more energy as you heal, you're getting more energy, more understandable energy. Because we get a lot of downloads and we don't get it at first, but then all of a sudden we remember.
Yes.
Yeah.
And when we're talking about the heart healing, I had a client recently who needed a heart heal. I feel like heart healing is almost the primary job that we do as healers. It's like that, not with every client, but almost every client. There is some.
Almost the last piece, like she was saying, like it's almost the last thing that really helps them shift.
Yes, I agree.
Mm-hmm.
Adam said, I wanted to joke and say a little while ago that I'm sick of the lessons. LOL, it's like school every day again. Yeah, I agree. Great. It's been kind of crappy.
Yeah.
Then,
Like,
you know what? It's kind of like, oh, somebody shared on Facebook, like if 2020 was a candy, what it would be, and it'd be like the Sour Patch Kids, because like, all of a sudden, like something just sucks, and then you're just like, oh my God, and then like, then the clouds open again, something else is just amazing, and you're like, Oh, and then
it's-
something else sucks again.
It's just like a roller coaster ride. You're hanging on for the high hills, and then you're like, wait, and then you're going back up again.
I would say if you put a Sour Patch Kid with Pop Rocks together,
Yeah.
Oh Lord.
because of the volatility, I would add Pop Rocks to that.
And be on a roller coaster at the same
Oh
time.
God, yeah.
With your spirit guide next to you going,
I know.
Uh-huh.
I love that. I love that meme. That's one of my favorite memes. Lindsay says, I've been wanting to ask, when I lay down to sleep at night this past week, my bed vibrates or is bumped multiple times. Oh, covers will tug or I'll feel pressure on them. Is the spirit trying to get my attention? Is this my own energy? I don't know if I should just say out loud, what do you need? Or not right now and it will stop. Mostly it creeps me out and I ground myself and protect myself with white light. And if you call on Michael and Yeshua and Melchizedek, any dark anything will just run to the hills. Mostly it creeps me out. I ground myself, protect myself in white light. I'm so spooked by my abilities. I think it's the fear of the unknown. It is. If I know what's happening, it will be less spooky. I would say, and I want all of you to chime in your perspectives, but I would say, Lindsay, that if it was something negative, it would have like done something negative. So to me, it feels like something trying to get your attention and something that is benign, if not benevolent. And I think it's well within your rights to say, hey, you know what? You're welcome to communicate with me maybe when I'm not trying to sleep, or if you're okay with it, you could say, you know, hi, is there something that I can help you with? Do you need my help? Because most of the time they either want help or acknowledgement. Or they want to tell you something. Maybe most of the time I get visited, they got a message for me. Some of the time I got to guide them to the light. So it could be any of those. So I guess it would just be to your discernment as to what you feel comfortable with. But I feel like this is not a being that you need to be afraid of. But I understand being afraid of the unknown, because the number of times I've gone screaming down the hallway because somebody's in my room that to me looks like a solid living dude that might like kill me is like what, numerous. And it's because I didn't know what it was. I thought it was a legit, like I thought I needed to be afraid. So it's totally understandable for you to like be afraid.
well,
of
if you call in Jesus or whoever you feel comfortable with, and you say if they're not of the light, ask them to just escort them away, or ask if there's something that you need to know, or just like you said, you know, as long as you have somebody there, Mike or Archangel Michael, you know, and you feel comfortable, you know, go ahead and ask. But usually if you say, if you're not of the light, then leave, and they don't come back, then that's what it was. Something that that you wouldn't even have to worry about wanting to know what they wanted because they left, you know.
Yes.
So yeah. So I mean, it's not as scary as it has to be. I mean, if you know that you're protected and know that you're okay, and know that you're in charge of your own space, spiritual law, they can't come in your space if you say they can't. Even the angels. Even because I had overprotected when I first began, because I didn't know any better. I like protected the house up so much that when someone in my family passed, they wanted to say goodbye and that they were okay. And Jesus said, this person, may she come through. And I was like, well, of course, why did you ask? And it's like your protection. You got, you have to, ask permission. And I went, oh my gosh. So then I relaxed a little bit. I quit being the wizard with the wand. Started being a little more, saying that if they're of the light and if they're loving, then it's okay. It's just the more you get comfortable with it, the easier it is for you to relax with it a little bit.
Yeah.
And you can work with your guides too, to have them, help you with that kind of thing. Your guides can help you. And then I forgot what else I was going to say, but we definitely can stand in our own light. There's nothing that can harm you if you choose to not let it. I mean, I definitely, I remove, and we all do, really nasty attachments from people and stuff like that. and we stand in our light and we use our own divinity, we connect with divine to sizzle that energy, if you want to put it that way. And everybody has the ability to do that, every single person on earth. So I did it naturally when I had something, actually, and that was an attachment that I had at one point. And I kind of expelled it out of my body by just not wanting it there. Didn't realize it. And if it is something of a lower nature, you don't really want to do that, because then it goes right to the next person. So yeah, that's not a good way to do it. I didn't know what I was doing at that time. I didn't understand about entities and things like that. Now I know way better, and I transmute them. And instead of just going and then throwing it out, into
Hi.
the abyss and going, okay, whoever's next, good luck.
So it's almost like you end up, like when you're working with someone, you end up with a second client or third or fourth, depending on whatever entourage they brought with them.
Yes.
So yeah, you
Always,
definitely end up talking them to the light.
yes.
Yeah.
Always into light and transmute them.
But
And- Go ahead.
if you do find you're in a situation that is scary and you feel like it's way over your head and you can't handle it, give one of us a call, because we all can help you with that too. We did lose Jessica because she told me that her power's out.
Oh, and it is like really dark here. I went to get
Oh,
my
yeah.
I was like, it looks like it's gonna be ugly.
Yeah.
Adam says, plus you can't show them fear, they'll feed on it. You're always in control.
Yes.
And then Lindsay says, I have so much to learn still. Thank you, ladies.
And she's above that, she said, okay, I'll try it tonight. I don't know how they would give me a message. I've never talked to spirit, but acknowledging them may help. The only spirit I talk to is in my dreams. It's easier for them to talk to you in the dreams, depending on how shall I say this? Depending on where they are in their, oh boy, how to explain this? So the spirit realm is also multidimensional. And so depending on their level of involvement, I'll say that, in the spirit realm will often determine how they're able to communicate with you. And so sometimes it's easier for them to come in dreams, and others either don't know how, or they don't feel like they can get your attention, or they can't. They haven't learned how to, like, they're not at a place where they can. But don't worry about figuring out how to communicate with them, because don't expect to hear like an ear in your voice. Not to say that can't happen, but it's an often assumed expectation that like that's what'll happen. They will give you a message in whatever way they feel you can receive it. Sometimes you just need to say, you are forgiven, you are loved, you are blessed, and if it is your choice, you may go to the white light of source in order to be with your loved ones. If it's something that feels unpleasant, one of the things that I say, and I say it for my clients as well when I'm doing a clearing, but I say it for myself as well, because I feel like both me and the client needs to be able to stand in our light. And since my client says an oral agreement that yes, he or she accepts the healing, then I can say this for both of us. But I say, we are all powerful beings of divine white light, and nothing and no one can harm us save that which we allow. You have no power over me. I am a sovereign being. May you go to the white light of source with love, peace, and forgiveness. And sometimes you have to be a little more, how shall I say, repetitive than that. Sometimes they don't like to go immediately. But usually when you call on, Michael, Yahweh, and Melchizedek, because I call in all three, because it's sort of, I don't know. I feel like the three can work really well together, and they all hold that energetic key code sort of thing that can unlock negative energies. So I call in the big guns. I don't settle with one. I bring all of them. And we all, along with calling on our divine aspects, because I feel like if we call on our divine aspects, then we're not only letting the entity know that I acknowledge that I am a being of divine light, but it's also like our God aspect. So it's sort of like God going through us. So I feel like that's important. So I'm going to shut up. I feel like I just rambled. I'm done. I'm gonna shut up.
That was pretty interesting. I was listening.
I was listening.
Yeah.
I can't stop talking, so I'm gonna make myself stop talking.
I do want to say something. Something came to me when you started talking, and I was just cracking up. And it was like, you know how in The Exorcist they're like, the power of, what is it? The power of Christ compels you. Like, that's not what we do. I just had to tell you that. Like, we're not out there going the power of Christ. So I just wanted to say that's not really. It's not that dramatic. So I just wanted to throw that out there. Like, it's
because
not.
a lot of it's happening in the ethers. They're doing most of the work in the ethers, and you may see it in your third eye, you may sense it, you may feel it. Sometimes you might actually see it with your physical eyes, but most of the time it's in the ethers. Mostly where it's at. My husband says we have 20 minutes before the storm hits my house, so we'll probably lose it soon too.
Thunder.
It'll make knocked out most of it.
Yeah.
Oh, like, who's that guy?
It's an aspect. No, it's my husband. We're on live.
He's like, crap.
Yeah.
Well, I want to thank Jessica so much for coming on, and that was so cool today.
Yeah, it was lots of fun.
Oh, she said that's all good. Namaste. It was an honor, and thank you for having me. That was friggin' fun.
Yeah,
that was fun. I have to say, Jessica, too, I had very quickly, because I think the storm is coming, but very quickly, I had actually past life issue. I had a past life that I saw where I actually didn't have a good outcome with an ET abduction. And so that was the little gray ones, but that was just not fun. But number one, I also know that we choose things before we come into lifetimes. And so I had to ask, because I can see my own past lifetimes. So I was like, okay, they finally showed me, and it had always freaked me out really bad. So I had a severe fear of it. But now that I know that I chose that before I came in, so that was something that I chose to go through. And now that all I had to do, that's a cool thing about past lives, when you realize that's kind of what we call shadow work. When I realized that's what had happened, then I went, oh, okay, like all this fear I've had about all that stuff. I remember reading the book about the abductions when I was like a young teenager, and just going, oh my God, it scared the crap out of me. Huh?
Yeah, I think we all did that,
Yeah, and that really scared me, but now I'm much better. So thank you, Jessica, for helping, and Bonnie and Jennifer, because we all have some fears sometimes. And that was one of my fears.
I want to thank Kathy, because she helped me this week with a big, huge heart healing. I was having a really, really hard time, and she helped me with that. And I just want to thank you from the bottom of my heart for that.
You're so
I
welcome.
feel so much better. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Yeah.
Anytime anybody needs anything, give me a call. That's why we're here.
That's what we're here. Yeah.
All right. Well, we are signing off. Love you all. You guys have an amazing night, and we'll be back pretty soon. I'll be posting another one. So you have a great day. Have
We're
a nice
signing off with love. And
oh yes. Thank
Yes.
you.
And
with love.
Compassion.
Yeah, we did it. So we're trying to say, we'll do it one more time. We're signing off with love.
Compassion.
And integrity.
Yeah.
There you go.
Got it. Okay, sorry.
Y'all have a good night. No.
Yeah, have a good night. Love
Make
y'all.
sure your windows are up. The storms are coming.
Yeah. My lights are going. Bye-bye.
Yeah.